back again earlier than usual. It's a morning stream from Lee Gunner and I. Straight facts. Premier League is returning this week. Loads to talk about. Arsenal, how are they going to get on? Is Lee Gunner backing Arteta after the most positive stream in years? Are the Rat Army about to be exterminated? We're talking about that later. But Chelsea have agreed full personal terms now with Marc Cucurella. They are hijacking the deal from Manchester City. And as confirmed by The Athletic, they are serious about taking Frankie de Jong away from Manchester United. We're delving into all of those stories today. If we hit 1,000 likes while we're live, we're going to gift away 20 free memberships to you. So make sure that's getting done. But morning, Lee, how are you, mate?
I've had about 15 hours sleep. I feel fresh. I had 12 hours kept the night before. I'm feeling good, man. It's nice. The sun's shining. It's touching 30 degrees already. It's not even midday. So, yeah, man, fully in the mud. My tan's on point.
Mate, the tan does
Season starts Friday.
Your tan, Arsenal's form, amazing. And we will be delving into that a little bit later. So if you're here to talk, if you're here to listen to the Arsenal content that's coming later in the show, so stay with us. I wanted to start first with Chelsea because they've had a bit of an up and down summer. Some people think it's been okay. Some people think it's been horrendous. But they've just agreed personal terms with a player that we all thought was going to Man City in Marc Cucurella. Full personal terms agreed. The deal is getting very, very close between Brighton and Chelsea. They believe it's going to be done very, very quickly. How good a signing do you think this is to Chelsea? Or do you feel like they've already got Ben Chilwell, that they really need another fullback? Like, what's your take on this bit of business from the blue part of London?
First off, he's class. He's a quality player, man. And Brighton seem to have this like scouting network where they can just go and pluck a player that no one's ever heard of, and they end up being decent, don't they? Do you know what I mean? Like Basuma was another one. Obviously, Basuma actually went very cheap. I can't believe how cheap he went, but maybe that was with the pending court case that got dropped in the end. But Cucurella, top player, man. And I feel like that massively strengthens them. I think he played pretty much all the games, if not all the games last season. Ben Chilwell missed most of the season or half the season through injury. And as good as Chilwell is, I feel like Cucurella just gives him something different. I think Chilwell's not massively great defensively. I feel like he's better going forward. And Chelsea, albeit they had a good defence last season, they conceded, I think, the third least amount of goals in the league after the top two. And I mean, Chelsea weren't exactly great last season. They started off great and then they just fell away really after Christmas, didn't they? And I feel they were playing players out of position. They're filling gaps and, you know, it just looked a little bit disjointed. Now that if they get Cucurella done and over the line, which it looks like they're going to, they don't need to worry about putting somebody at left back who ain't a left back. Marcus Alonso, good player, very good technically, but again, he ain't great, is he? Cucurella's levels above him, in my opinion. So they could now shift if Marcus Alonso is obviously out the team. They could now shift Chilwell further forward if they wanted to. They could play him as a left-sided midfielder, left winger. If I know Sterling signed for them, but I just feel like when Chilwell went there for 50 mil, I was like, wow, 50 mil for Chilwell. And then he went in and he smashed it for the first 3 months, and then we barely see him again after that, didn't we? So they've strengthened if they sign Cucurella. I think he's a good player, man, and I think that's a great signing for the fee as well. 40 million apparently, roughly around that. That's a decent signing, man. And I've seen a lot of people saying about Chelsea, like a lot of Chelsea fans are fuming, by the way, like with their transfer business this summer. They're not happy with the owner already. And I've looked at them and I'm just thinking, well, they've still got a quality manager. They've still got the core of a good team, a very good team. They just need to get a couple of additions in, get a couple of the older players out, and they'll be all right. Like Terry, I said this last week. I took a £200 bet on the show last week. They will finish above Arsenal. They've got the experience with the manager. They've got the experience with some of the players like Kante, Kovacic, Thiago Silva. They've even when they're on a transfer ban with Frank Lampard in charge, they still finished above us. And I know the teams are totally different now, and we look like we've got a little bit better, but I just see them above us. I still put Tottenham above them right now, if I'm honest, but they're not finished in this window yet, and they're going to sign some players before the end of it, and they're going to get a couple of players out. I think they're trying to keep hold of Azpilicueta. That'd be massive if they keep him, because he's one of the best defenders I've seen in the Premier League era. Like, he's class, whether he's a
Yeah.
right back or centre back. I think he's brilliant, man.
One of the most underrated. Can play left back, can play right back, can play centre back, can attack, can defend, can score. Just never been the poster boy, and so kind of gets a little bit underrated in that regard. And there's not very many defenders that can do what he did. He gives me as well. Like, he plays at centre back, he plays multiple positions. One of the reasons why I hold Dennis Irwin as the best overall fullback in Premier League history isn't because he was better at left back than, say, Ashley Cole. Isn't that he was better at crossing the ball than Trent Alexander-Arnold. It's that the biggest fact that people forget, and I'm talking about footballer here, not the best actual fullback. So the best footballer to play at fullback, I always used to give to Dennis Irwin, because he was right-footed right back who was the best left back in the league for a decade. Like, the point I make is this: I think Ashley Cole was amazing. Would he have been the best right back in the league if he switched sides? Don't think so. Like, but that's why my reason I'm saying that is I'm praising Aspie, because wherever Aspie plays, class. Like, he never looks bad.
Always 7 out of 10 at least, isn't it? Like, he'll have one iffy game every 100 games.
Yeah,
but it doesn't matter because it's only 1 in 100. It's like, he's one of the most consistent defenders I've ever seen, mate.
I couldn't agree more. And I think when you look at Cucurella to Chelsea, the speed they've got this deal done is been brilliant. This is a player that can attack and defend, can play in part of a back five as a wing back, can play very comfortably as a fullback. Marcus Alonso as a wing back is one of the best in Europe. Marcus Alonso as a left back is absolutely atrocious. You've then improved that area of your football pitch. And that's what I mean by the versatility. I hold players like Aspie in such high regard, Dennis Irwin in such high regard. I'm using historical points because they could play every role within the genre of a fullback brilliantly, as opposed to being good at just one thing. And I actually think Cucurella is better than Ben Chilwell as well. Equally, Cucurella can play as a left-sided centre-back. And I know people are like, oh, you're forcing it. I've been talking about this for a while now, and I think it's starting to pick up pace in football. The position that Sky Sports put you in to say, oh, you're a centre-back, or you're a left-back, but when people turn around and go, oh, I want a 6. I'm like, what do you mean by 6? Oh, like a DM. It's like, you do realise that DMs there's different types of DMs, right? Like, it's Michael Carrick was a DM, and Claude Makelele, one of the best I've ever seen, but they didn't play football the same way. They didn't do the same job. They didn't occupy the same territories and positions. There's more than one way to skin a cat. And I think that you look at what Arsenal were supposedly going to be doing with Lisandro Martinez, playing him as an inverted fullback. When you look at the position of an inverted fullback, and you look at the position of a left or right-sided centre-back in a back three, they occupy the same positions. It's the same thing. Like, you invert your fullbacks, essentially you end up with a back three centre-backs. But if that makes sense, it's the same difference. But people like making it sound like it's rocket science. Like, football's really, it's like the difference between a 4-3-3 and a 4-2-3-1 depends if you're in possession or not. Like, they're really not that different, in my opinion, when you really break them down. But Cucurella will be a very good signing for Chelsea. And I think that Chelsea are one of the most slept teams so far this summer because they haven't looked good in their games in pre-season. And I understand why. They ended the season kind of on a low. Pre-season's been a little bit drab. The deals have taken longer to get over the line. New owners have come in. So that sort of everybody's putting 2 and 2 together. And I really feel like people are getting 37. They're almost... And there's a lot of want as well, because I think for Man United fans and for Arsenal fans, we all know we've got a much better chance of making the top 4 if Chelsea are dead. So I think people are just saying it out of hope that Chelsea are going to be...
It is hope. When they lost Abramovich, everyone said, that's it, they're dead and buried, they're finished. Yeah, well, anyone with half a brain would know that ain't the case. Do you know what I mean? A multi-billion-pound football club does not just disappear just like that because the owner's left. They were always going to attract another wealthy owner, because it was only wealthy people that can buy the football club. Do you know what I mean? And then it's how you go forward from that. Like I said, they've already got a good core. In the hierarchy, yes, they've lost some people. Marina's gone. I think Bruce Buck's gone as well, is he? Has he left?
Yeah, well, they're still officially at the club so right now, if they want to lean on Marina, she'll come in and do negotiations for them. They're still there in a smaller capacity. Bruce Buck, I still think, is part of the Chelsea setup. They're just not the key decision makers anymore, is what I believe.
And the thing is as well, it's like it is more hope than anything. Arsenal and Man U fans are just hoping that Chelsea capitulate. Whenever Chelsea suffer any type of adversity, Terry, we all know they go and win something. Like, do you know what I mean? When they've been in the Europa League twice, both times they've won it. Like, when they won the Champions League when they sacked Lampard and were 9th in the table. You know, they ended up getting to every cup final since bar one, I think. So I don't know why people are sleeping on Chelsea. Chelsea will be all right, and Chelsea will go and sign some more players. There's two more that we're going to talk about anyway shortly, but they will go and sign some good players. And the one thing that's surprising for me is the fact that Man City have sold a lot of players recently since January. Ferran Torres 55 mil, Jesus to us 45, Sterling 49 or whatever it was. You know, they've got rid of some players there for a lot of money. It baffles me why City ain't bidding more for Cucurella, because I feel that's a position they need to fill with quality. They've let Zinchenko go. Yes, they've got Cancelo and blah, 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 but I feel like they need a left back, Man City. I think that's the only position on the pitch where I'd say that they need strengthening, Man City, because everywhere else I think they're quality.
Well, Man City, this is the thing, is this is why net spend is a fallacy. And I mean a fallacy in terms of the basic way it's worked out. The deal for Haaland will show you that he cost £62 million. However, the agent fees were over 30 mil. The fee to the father was over 20 mil. The salary is like 300, 400K a week, plus gargantuan bonuses if they win the leagues, if they win the Champions Leagues. You have to factor for that. Like there's a fundamental, massive chance they win the league and a huge chance they win the Champions League. The amount of money Haaland will cost year one, Man City, if they were to win the Champions League and Premier League this year, he is costing them hundreds of millions of pounds year one in terms of, well, not year one. He's costing them over £100 million year one with all the fees. Well, just the agent fees, father's fees, and transfer fee brings it up to about 120 million. His salary will skyrocket to past £500,000 a week, including bonuses if they win things. So they have to factor that in by selling people on. And they pay a lot of agent fees, Man City. One of the reasons why their transfer fees are often so low is they pay the agents a lot of money. Their agent fees are really quite high. So all these things factor into how much money a club can spend. But they have allowed a lot of players to go recently. And City are in a really weird position if they don't get Cucurella, because Zinchenko is gone. And I know they've got Cancelo. And I know they've got Kyle Walker. Very good. But beyond that, Zinchenko was the guy that would come in and cover. If suddenly there's an injury in that position, they've not got Cucurella, they don't sign somebody else. They may sign someone else as a month ago. Like that may happen. But if they don't sign anybody else, and they also allow Bernardo Silva to leave, you suddenly look at Man City and you go, we were all raving because of Phillips. We were all raving because of Haaland and Alvarez. Wow, you've improved. But you suddenly lose Bernardo Silva and don't bring in a replacement for Zinchenko. I'm not saying they've gone backwards, but you start to look at their squad and you go, ooh, there's some holes. Again, an injury or two, and there's some holes in it. And you never expect Man City to have these holes because of how much money they've got, because of how big they are now, I mean, imagine if Arsenal or Man United had their money and were winning the league, how easy it would be in this era to sign players. Like, it's like shooting fish in a barrel. So they're going to be a real interesting one. But Chelsea are doing bits for me. And the other player that we've already mentioned, mentioned Cucurella, is Fofana. That deal's getting closer. And I want to get your take on this because, I mean, they're talking 75, 80 million pounds, which is a lot of money for a player that's only played 35 Premier League games. He's 21 years of age. How much better or worse is he than the kind of the Jules Koundés and the Delits that they were looking to spend similar amounts of money on?
Well, he's played 35 games for Leicester in the Premier League. So there's a bit of experience in the Premier League. Some of these players that you see from abroad, like especially defenders, I feel like it's like sometimes they're like fish out of water, Terry. Like they can't get up to the pace of the game real quick over here. I don't know why. It's not just defenders. Like you see it in all positions, but it's like they look amazing, like a Rolls Royce in Italy or Germany or Spain, and they come to England and they just massively flop and look out of their depth. So I don't know, man. 70 million quid is a lot of money, but that's again, like I said about Brighton, Leicester. They pluck these players out for cheap, and then they end up sending them for massive, massive money. You know, we see it with Harry Maguire. You know, and if we're going to compare Fofana and Harry Maguire, who would you rather? Do you know what I mean? Like, I think everyone would Fofana, wouldn't they?
Right now, they definitely would.
The only thing I'd say about him is he has come back off a massive, massive injury. So is he going to be the same quality player that he looked when he first signed for Leicester? And it's ironic actually because he never had to be loaned back out to the French league to get more experience. Brendan Rodgers just chucked him straight in. Meanwhile, we've got Saliba, who was his partner at St Etienne, being loaned back out for another 2 years and looks equally as good, if not better. And it's like, why
Salim,
didn't we just throw the kid into our team and we might have already been up there? Do you know what I'm saying? But 70 million, I mean, it's a big, big risk for a 21-year-old. But if it works out, then you've got a player there for at least 10 years, isn't it?
It's a massive, massive risk that I don't think you can kind of get away from. But it's one of the one thing I'd say about, I said it last night on the Top 6 show, and I stand by it. Antonio Rudiger is not this world-class centre-back everybody thinks he is. He's a very good centre-back and was always a very good centre-back. Thomas Tuchel's coaching, man management, and system elevated him. And the reason I say that is because up until Thomas Tuchel arrived, Chelsea fans were like, yeah, he's all right. Whenever there was a conversation about best centre-backs in the Prem, the man's name, when it got mentioned, everyone would snigger like you were putting a joke in. Legitimately, and I mean this, if you go back and actually just go back and look at the content, go back and look at the tweets, 18 months ago, people rated Maguire at least at the same level as Rudiger, if not better than him, generally across the board, maybe not Chelsea fans. So I look at it from this point of view. And again, that's not a dig at Antonio Rudiger. It's praising Thomas Tuchel. I think if he brings in Fofana, I think there could be a serious player in there. And if he comes in and performs for Chelsea as he does for Leicester, the level of consistency, how comfortable he is on the ball, the lack of mistakes, the athleticism that comes with it, no one will talk about the price tag. And that's the thing when you spend a lot of money, it dissipates how much a player costs when they do well. But that's always the risk.
The thing. Nobody mentions Van Dijk 70 mil, do they? Because he's a quality footballer who doesn't make hardly any mistakes. But then you look at Harry Maguire, 80 odd million, and the guy is just a clown. Let's be real. Mate, every single game. You could put a whole hour compilation together of his mess ups. Yeah, you can't do that with Van Dijk. You're struggling to find 2 or 3 in a season. So
you're absolutely right. But equally on Maguire, if the new system under Ten Hag locks in and Maguire stops making these mistakes and he looks better and he just plays really well, people will stop talking about the price tag. Like, this is whenever a player's playing well, no one ever cares about it. You know, Anthony Martial went through that, 50 million waste when he's playing well and he was scoring goals in his early Man United career. What a good signing he was, and everyone stopped talking about the money. And you sort of look back at it and go, have we got our money back from him? Ironically, he didn't cost 50 million. He cost 35. We never paid out that 15 million pound clause for him winning a Ballon d'Or. Was he worth the 35 million? Probably over the last 7-8 years, he probably paid that back as an example. But the price tag is big there. And the other player that's heavily linked today, and this has been my fear, to be honest with you, when I saw this news, I felt like crying. And I saw this come out, and I just thought to myself, Man United could be in, like, I don't like saying legitimate trouble, but Chelsea are monitoring the Frankie de Jong situation. And this is according to Simon Johnson from The Athletic, very credible when it comes to Chelsea news, says with considerable interest. This has been legitimately my biggest fear all summer, that I've not, at one point, I've got a £5,000 bet going on that I feel like he will leave Barca if Barcelona agree to pay him some of his deferred wages. I felt like Man United got a great chance of getting him. But the one element, I've always said 90% sure. The 10% wasn't him staying at Barca per se. It was a Champions League team coming in for him. Bayern Munich, PSG, Chelsea. One of these teams comes in for him. They take him away. The crazy thing is, if Chelsea end up by the end of this, let's just say by the end of this week, with Fofana, Cucurella, De Jong, after already having signed Koulibaly and Raheem Sterling, that's why I didn't want to laugh at Chelsea. Like, as a Man United fan, you want to kind of give a little bit of banter. If that ends up, even if it's the end of the window, that's the 5 players that end up with. If at the start of the window, you said by close of business in the transfer window, Chelsea have De Jong, Koulibaly, Raheem Sterling, Marc Cucurella, and Fofana, that is the best transfer window of any of the top 6, hands down. If they pull that off, people say they don't have a number 9 that's going to score goals. Yeah, but they've now got creativity in the midfield from De Jong threading those balls through. Raheem Sterling scores. I still think they're sleeping on Broja. I think he needs an opportunity. I look at that, and if Chelsea pull this off, honestly, they are looking dangerous next year. Dangerous.
The fella who bet me 200 quid might as well pay up now.
If Chelsea go in for De Jong, though, do you think Man United stand a chance against Chelsea in that race, in that battle?
Yeah, because you can match the money, you can match the wages, and the manager knows him. There's 3 reasons straight away. Man United are one of the biggest clubs on the planet. Even though they've not acted like one for about a decade, they're still one of the biggest clubs in the world. The only thing I will say that puts Chelsea maybe in front is Champions League football. Does he really want to step down from Barcelona to go and play Timbuktu FC away on a Thursday night? Probably not. No. Whereas Chelsea can offer him a chance to play Champions League football, and we know that they will get to the latter stages of it based on the previous 2 seasons. They've won it and then got to a semi, didn't they? Or was it a quarter? Either way.
Well, they got to the quarter, and they were probably the closest team to knocking around Madrid out last year.
Yeah.
They should have knocked Madrid out, you know,
right at the death.
You know, and again, it's obviously Madrid went on to do what they did, but yeah, I mean, they should have done that. For me is what it is. I think it's that Champions League football, and Thomas Tuchel's a top class manager. Chelsea have a much better squad than people are giving them credit for as well. It's frustrating to me the way I see people kind of talk about them as if
it's because people want to believe, Terry, that their team, Arsenal, Man United, whatever it may be, and the way pre-season's gone for our teams, both of our teams have smashed it in pre-season. Chelsea ain't really done a great deal. You know, people want to sit there and get hype. And I sit here and people say, oh, you're moaning, you're toxic, you're negative all the time. No, I've seen it for 20 years. Everyone gets hype and it ends up with you falling flat on your face because this team always lets you down. The same with Man United in the last decade. Yeah, everyone gets hype and suing outside car parks and jumping around and like 5-0 against Leeds and all of that, and everyone gets hype. But then ultimately, Man United hit the F-it switch and it capitulates. The same with Arsenal. You've done that for the last 10 years and we've done it for about 15. Yeah, and it's great to be excited. Cool, be excited. But at the same time, it's more hope than anything. Yeah, Man City fans will sit there and Liverpool fans will sit there in the chat or on social media and sit there and say, we're going to win the league this season. And they actually believe it's going to happen. Arsenal fans say, oh, yeah, well, we can get top. And Man U, oh, we can get top. But they don't believe it. They hope. They laugh at Chelsea and hope that Chelsea cock up and that Tottenham do a Tottenham and Spurs it up, that then we can get there. Like, when can both of our teams actually have that, we're going to do it and actually try and do it and go for it to the death? Because I just think, like, I've seen a lot of big. I know we're going to come on to Arsenal, so I'll save it. Go on, carry on, mate. Sorry.
No. I mean, listen, I get a lot where you're coming from, and it's about people ask me all the time, can Man United make top 4 this year? Yeah, we can, but do I think we will? They're 2 completely separate conversations. And when people say, oh, Chelsea could really have a bad season, yeah, they could, because we've seen top class teams have bad seasons. But do I think Chelsea are going to have a bad season? No. And I know a lot of people are saying, Terry, relax. Chelsea can't spend on Fofana, Cucurella, Di Maria after Koulibaly and Sterling. Well, they can and they can't, right? If you go back to some of the early reports, they were talking about spending over £200 million. You've also got to think about the factor in the money that they raise for players. You've also got to look at the simple fact that, and some clubs don't do this as much as I think they should. Instead of spending that money over 2 summers, spend it in 1. As long as you're confident those players work out, you don't need to spend the following year. If Chelsea bring in those 5 players this summer, next year you probably only need a top-class striker, maybe, if Brozier isn't kind of good enough. Equally, a lot of those deals, you're not paying that money lump sum cash up front. You're spending 1/5 of that money in initial payments up front. You know, the new owners inject some cash. You know, you push really hard, you know, year 1 as an example. Like, and equally, FFP only counts after sort of a 3 to 4 year period. Years, the losses so you could make a big loss this year, but if next summer you don't have to spend anywhere near as much, you sell 2 or 3 more players that you don't need, and you make a profit, then you can balance it out. And that's something that the Todd Bowley group kind of alluded to earlier on in the summer. Now, will they land all those players? Maybe not. And maybe the finances does become a little bit too tight. But if you just take out one of those individuals and the remaining 4 stay, it's still a sensational summer.
I'm just looking at a website, Terry, right, for the last 5 seasons, net spend, buying and selling, right, that's before this summer. Chelsea had spent in the last 5 seasons before this season, 656.9 mil. They've got back in player sales 523.6, which is a net of 133.2, which averages out 26.6 million per season. Yeah, I'm quite sure Chelsea could go and do £250 million this summer, and it wouldn't affect nothing.
And as long as at the end of 3 years from now, as long as they are not making the losses that enable them to be punished by FFP, they'll be fine. Now it's a gamble. It's a gamble to spend, for instance, let's just I'm making this up slightly because I don't quite know their finances because no one does. It's a gamble to spend 1.5 or 2 summers worth of money in one window. But then is it if the players are exactly what Tuchel wants and if Tuchel's being backed? And this is what I would say. These are Tuchel's targets. And listening to a lot of the journalists around Chelsea, it's almost even Tuchel's been surprised by the landing of some of these players in the sense of, I'd love Koulibaly, but I think he's pretty much unattainable. All right, we'll go and get him for you. And they've gone and got it done. Yes, it looked very frenetic and it's looked messy because the only mistake Todd Bowley's made is talking to the press. He should have kept his... Listen, Todd Bowley, maybe not personally, but Todd Bowley and his people were the ones that told the press that Jules Koundé was done. They activated their... They did. I mean, I've got a friend who was at the hotel on the tour where the journalists were staying and was like, he was talking to the journalists. They're like, yeah, we've just been briefed and told. Like, they've activated their, what they call their recruitment process. Sevilla have activated their sales process. Contracts are being drawn up. It is happening. Like, Chelsea really believed it. Interestingly, it looks now more like Chelsea pulled away. But why did Chelsea pull away? Is it because they've seen another opportunity elsewhere? Maybe they looked at Fofana. Now, Sevilla have confirmed that it was Chelsea that pulled away. They did try to come back in last minute, as opposed to being Barca that like gazumped them. So, and it's weird that I don't see why Sevilla had any reason to lie about that. It doesn't make any sense for Sevilla to throw that in there. It didn't make any sense. But I think a lot of people are sleeping on Chelsea massively. I've got some super chats here. KDB is the greatest City player of all time. No, that's Sean Goater, mate. Says,
beat the goat and it will score.
A bit of Summerby. I'm worried about our season, Terry. If we don't sign a left back, Liverpool and Spurs for the Prem this season. That's an interesting take. Thank you, by the way. I've got to play the music. Thank you to Cam for becoming an official member of the Football Terrace. I really do appreciate that, my guy. Smoky Setting says, fan to fan, Lee with gelled and the same Sevilla we beat, Tottenham drew to. Tuchel has come out and said he's not going after a striker this window. So Arteta comes third and wins 2 trophies. Will you say Arteta out still? We'll come back to that one a little bit later, my friend.
Yeah, save that because I want to answer all the questions he asked me in that.
Lee won't be Arteta in as he isn't a flip-flop. We'll come back to that when we speak Arsenal in a minute, people. A lot of the chat coming in about that. If you want to get any of your comments, and we always prioritize the super chats and the member chats as best we can. Terry, Chelsea will get Rice next summer for way cheaper than he's listed for this summer. Good business. But let me just say this to you now. Declan Rice is 30 million pounds more expensive than Frankie de Jong, and Frankie de Jong is better. Like, buying Frankie de Jong makes much more sense than Declan Rice. He's better than Declan Rice is brilliant, but he isn't 30 million pounds.
I'll challenge you on that. Frankie de Jong, technically, his level's clear of him. Frankie de Jong's not played in the Premier League, Terry, where you literally touch the ball and you've got 3 players flying into you. Yeah, Declan Rice is West Ham's best player by a country mile. In the Premier League, doing it week in, week out, very rarely looks out of his depth. So, whilst Frankie de Jong is a better footballer, in my opinion, doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to come in and keep that same level of performance that he's been putting in for other teams. Whereas Declan Rice, you know what you're going to get.
That is a fair challenge.
And he's not got to move all the way across a different country. He's moving, we can stay in his gaff and just commute every day. Like, just drive every day.
Same house. I get that. I do get that. And that's what you've got to weigh up when it comes there. But thank you very much, Sean. I want to say another thank you to 1970 Chelsea for becoming an official.
You've seen it all if he was born in 1970. Blimmin' hell. You've seen the bridge up for sale. You've seen Roman come in.
Roman come, Roman go. Red Wolf here says, if Frankie de Jong comes to Chelsea, he has a year to integrate with the squad before Kante and Jorginho leave. Would be great business to get done. I couldn't agree with you more. I think it'd be sensational. And look, there is always the risk that a player doesn't climatize to the Prem, doesn't fit a manager's system. You know, you've seen that with players like Ziyech at Chelsea and Timo Werner. Like, that hasn't worked for them. There is always that risk. But I do think he'd be a sensational. So I can't say he won't be. I can't sit here and say Man United be signing a star. Then Chelsea get linked with him and go, nah, I think he might flop. Like, I've got to keep the consistency. But
commentary, that's what being on social media is all about, isn't it?
Thoughts on Thomas Partey news? A lot of evidence.
I did a video on it, mate. Check it out.
Yeah, do that. I said it the other day. I've seen all the tweets. I've read what this young lady has said. And that's one half the story. And my view is this: it needs to be taken seriously. The police need to look into it. We need to respect her views. But at the same time, I'm not going to cast aspersions because I don't know the full truth. I haven't seen what's happened. And I'm going to remain that level. That level of consistency has to remain. Due process has to take place. Yes, I've seen those messages, but I'll give you an example. We haven't seen what became before or after them. No. And that isn't to say they're wrong, but it's an isolated screenshot as an example. And I'm not saying he's innocent. I'm not saying he's guilty. I'm not saying she's right. I'm not saying she's lying. I don't know enough, so I'm not expressing an opinion. Call me a fence sitter if you want, but if this is just the way I handle
it's a sensitive subject. Let's be real, right? Because she's accusing him of what he's being accused of. He's not come out and said anything. Maybe he's been told not to. I don't know. But if I've got two phones, I could text myself and make that one be that person's name in my phone. Yeah, but equally on the flip side of that, it may have happened. So we don't know. So why don't we just sit back, keep our mouths shut, and just watch football instead?
Bro, I watched Power once. Do you ever watch Power? There's a great episode in Power where Tommy and Ghost have to go and like kill someone. And what they do is Ghost and his then ex-wife check into a hotel, and she sits there in the hotel room because he sneaks out of it, like texting off his phone to like people. So that the phone signal picks up that he's there. People were getting text messages from him. The signal would triangulate into that position. And I'm like, that's why in life, I look at things like, okay, I've seen what you've said. I take it seriously. But I never 100% believe something until I see cast iron proof. The only reason that I went in on Mason Greenwood is because we saw and heard like so much more. And it's very, very different. Like if there was a voice note from Thomas Partey saying something, confirming something, so please don't go to the police. I'm so sorry I did it. Like if there was something like that, then you'd be like, oh, wow, that changes the game. But there isn't anything. So I think everybody should be keeping their opinions to them. I'm even seeing people going, it's a disgrace that Arsenal are letting him play. And I'm like, I understand why people think that, but we don't know the ins and outs. And I'm pretty sure Arsenal's legal team have said to Partey's legal team, we want access to everything. And that's what it's why when Spurs signed Basuma, it was like, oh, it's big risk. And I was like, what is it? Because if I'm
one of their top boys is a proper lawyer, like one of the best lawyers in England. That's
well, I think for me, like when I think for me, when they signed him, someone said he's admitted it. Look, I haven't seen anything where he said he's admitted to anything. That's the point. Like, I haven't seen anything that's categorically said that. That's why I'm sitting on the fence with this. And I think that's the right and sensible thing to do. But it's like with Basuma. The one's like, oh, I was like, well, Spurs would have just said to his legal team, we want to see every bit of evidence against the player, every element of the charges. We will review it and then make a decision. If they would have said, no, we're not giving you access, then Spurs would have walked away because they're never going to sign someone if the evidence was absolutely damning. And look, it is what it is, and it's a really sorry situation. And I feel for that this month
anyway, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly, and we'll see. And if it turns out that Thomas Partey's done something, then I'll condemn it. If it turns out he's innocent, either way, I'll when I know more, I'll give an opinion. Until then, I'm staying firmly on that fence. But equally, people that are giving crap to this young lady, you're a disgrace as well because she thinks what she feels how she feels, and she should be listened to and it should be taken seriously. And I think that's where the happy medium's got to come in. Thank you very much, by the way, to James Hall, another member. Like 3 members in one show. Absolutely top notch. Absolutely appreciate it. But that brings us on. That brings us on nicely to Arsenal. So I've got to say this. Lee Gunner, backing Arteta, happy with the performance the other day. Like,
where did I back Arteta, by the way?
No, I'm just making that up.
Clickbaited the title, yeah?
Look, I look at it from this point of view. I think Arsenal look great. I've had one of my best performing videos, and I just titled it "Arsenal Scare Me." I think it's currently sitting on 136,000 views. It's gone mad.
Will you stop using Arsenal to get clout, Terry, please?
142,000 views it's done. And all I said in the video is Arsenal scare me. And I stand by everything that I said in it. Arsenal, for me, they improved last year, like I said, other than when it comes to those crunch games. And they just let go. And I put a lot of that down to the age of that squad. I think you've bought well. I think more's going to come in. You've looked scintillating in pre-season. There's a togetherness. There's a happy factor. There's so much going on at Arsenal, which is to be positive about. I've already predicted this, and I'll say at the start, I'm predicting Arsenal to finish third in the league this season. I think you guys look great. And with the hype and the anticipation from Gooners, the expectation should be there to at least finish third. Should be closing the gap now on the teams in the top two at the top of the league. And you should be serious contenders in every cup competition that you're in, because on your day, you can beat anybody. And I think you've shown through pre-season that when this team's on it, when this team plays with freedom and relaxes and goes out there and plays ball, you can beat anybody, and you're scintillating. So I think Arsenal are going to have a big season ahead. The question is that I have for you, as we're sort of 3 days away from Arsenal kicking off this campaign, how good do you think Arsenal look, and how do you think they're going to do this year, Lee?
Well, that was a great performance against Sevilla. And apparently I only get views when I'm negative about Arsenal. Well, that's it, 60K. So, yeah, I don't know about that. Maybe if they kept winning, I'd get more views. My most viewed videos are wins. The cup wins. I'm negative. I only get views for traction of negativity. We looked great the other day. Yeah, we did. We looked really good. And I actually enjoyed watching 90 minutes of Arsenal for the first time in a long time. Like, there was performances last season against Tottenham where we were great for 45, 50 minutes. And then after that, we get sloppy. We start panicking. We start doing stupidness. Against Leicester, we looked good for 46, 47 minutes. I think Villa was about 50 minutes. That's the first time I've seen Arsenal for 90 minutes actually play really, really well. But, and there is a but, it's pre-season, Terry. It means nothing. The pressure's off. The pressure's off. And let's be real, Sevilla had sold their best players this summer. So you've got to take it with a pinch of salt as well. It's going to be a totally different kettle of fish, Ben White coming up against Wilfried Zaha on Friday than it was against their left winger the other day. Do you know what I'm saying? So, yes, we look good. The front three look like they're hungry. They're all running around. They're pressing. They're chasing. Granit Xhaka looked good. I mean, that don't happen often, but at the same time, we know that Granit Xhaka is gonna capitulate in at least 5 games this season. He does it every season and has done for 6 years straight. So there's 5 games we can write off straight away, where he's going to do something stupid, give away a penalty, get a red card, something like that. The right back's a massive issue for me. Yeah, with Tomiyasu, his calves are made of glass. Cedric ain't good enough. Bellerin shouldn't even be here. And Ben White just ain't good enough for Arsenal in the first place, let alone playing at right back. So that needs filling really, really quick. Centre mid, if Thomas Partey gets injured, our backup's El Neni. That ain't good enough. If Jesus gets injured, we're going with Eddie and Nketiah up front. That ain't good enough. You know, we've still got Pepe on the books. Apparently Newcastle want him. Again, if Saka gets injured, what do we do there? Do we then put Jesus out on the right and then put Eddie up front? I don't know. For me, I've seen a lot of Arsenal fans on social media. I'll see one today as well. Right? I'm going to show you this, right? Because this is funny. These fans, they say we've got massive squad depth, yeah? But then they go and list loads of players. So I'll give you this, right? Ramsdale, Turner, Hine as the 3 keepers. Tierney, Zinchenko, Maitland-Niles as the 3 left-backs. Well, Maitland-Niles ain't going to be here by the end of the window. Yeah, centre-backs, Saliba, White, Magalhaes, Holding. Right-back, Tomiyasu, Ben White, Cedric, Norton Cuffy, who's never kicked a ball in the first team ever. Why is he on that list? And Bellerin, who ain't going to be here. Right, so take 2 of them out. But it looks like mad squad depth now, doesn't it? Because you've put 5 players in at right back. Right, midfield, Xhaka, Zinchenko, Maitland-Niles, Patino in the Xhaka role. But just because you're putting 2 players that you've put at left back in the centre mid position doesn't mean you've got mad squad depth. Because 2 of them players will not be here. So there's 2 players you're going to take out. Charlie Patino is not ready to play for Arsenal. He's not. He needs a loan. Their Maitland-Niles ain't going to be here. So take them 2 out. It's just Xhaka and Zinchenko. But now you've put Zinchenko at left back as well. So it's not mad squad depth now, is it? Is what I'm trying to say. You go over the other side, Lokonga, El Neni, Partey. I mean, come on. If Partey gets injured, that ain't a good backup pairing. Yeah, Odegaard, Vieira. I've seen people saying he's the next Bernardo Silva. Based on what? You ain't ever seen him play football. The guy came with a protective boot on his foot. We don't know how good that guy's going to be. Yeah. Then you go Saka, Pepe, Nelson. Well, Nelson ain't going to be here, and Pepe, everyone wants him at the club. then Jesus and Nketiah. And then on the other side, you've got Salah Eddin. Has he ever kicked a ball for Arsenal? Why you put him in there? Marquinhos, we don't know how good he is. Smith Rowe's always injured. And then Martinelli. It's not mad squad depth. We lost to Brentford the other day. And everyone was going, oh, it don't matter. It's just a B team. It's just our backups. It's the back. Well, they're the only backups we've got, mate. So, yes, on paper, the first 11 looks great. It looks fantastic. It looks all shiny and cool, and it's running around. They're scoring goals. Great. Injuries are going to happen. We're going to have about 50-odd games this season. We're going to be in 4 competitions, Terry. So, if we get a major injury to Thomas Partey, which is likely because he's been injured most of the time he's been here, then what do we do? Do we put Zinchenko in there? Well, is Zinchenko the level required to play in that Partey role? I don't know. We'll see. If Tierney gets injured and Partey are injured at the same time, then who's playing left back? Because we're going to have to put Zinchenko somewhere. Is he going to go left back and then we put El Neni in? Do you know what I'm saying? And people are getting really hype, and good luck to these people who want to get hype. I live in the real world of where I've seen everyone get hype year on year on year and get hype with 4 games to go. And then, oh, it don't matter. It don't matter. It's an improvement. No, it does matter. Yeah, it's only an improvement last season because he took us so far backwards, it looked like an improvement. You know, the fact and reality is, Terry, he's done 370 million quid since he's been here. I demand a title charge. And for all the people sitting there saying I'm negative, well, the current technical director of Arsenal Football Club said it's time to start winning trophies. Is he negative then? Because I say what, if Edu's coming out saying that and we don't win a trophy at the end of the season, I want them all sacked.
Well, listen, I understand the squad depth element. And one of the things I'm challenging people on the terrace when they're giving predictions is I want to stop something being, I want to stop something. That sounds very domineering. I want to stop an element of cap when it comes to predictions. You don't make a prediction with a caveat of, I think Arsenal will finish 3rd as long as we don't get any injuries, as long as we get all the right refereeing decisions, and as long as everything goes our way. And the reason I say that is because there are always the excuses that are given to teams failing, but that stuff's going to happen. You're going to get injuries. You're going to have decisions that don't go your way. And there's going to be a game or two where, I don't know, it's 0-0. There's a minute to go. A player has a shot. Opponent shoots. He's going wide. It hits somebody's elbow. It hits somebody's backside. Hits the referee in the face and goes in. Now, I know that none of that would actually really be a goal, but I'm being a little bit kind of facetious with it. A little bit pedantic, really. But it's almost like those things are going to happen. I just have this feeling with Arsenal, and I get where you're coming from. There has to be, though, from Arsenal fans, especially the ones that are being positive. And I kind of agree with a lot of the things they're saying. Now, the level of squad depth I've seen some people put out, I've seen tweets talk about, oh my God, like our 2nd and 3rd team I can't believe the depth. I don't think you've got that length of strength of depth people are talking about. That makes you title contenders. And I don't think you're there yet. I don't think you're ready to compete for a title. I do, however, think, though, that you are more than capable of making it into the top 4. I think you're going to be better than you were last year. But but where you're spot on, in my opinion, is you do need to be challenging for these titles. Arsenal need to be holding their club to a high regard. You're not where Ten Hag is, year 1, first summer of a rebuild. You're not where Tottenham are. With all due respect, yes, they've got a world-class manager, but Tottenham don't win anything. Tottenham don't achieve anything, really. Tottenham are looked at as this kind of also run by everybody. So you're in a position where after nearly £500 million being spent, 3.5, nearly 4 years of Mikel Arteta being your manager, winning trophies and cementing a top 4 position shouldn't even be a prediction. It should be an absolute demand from Arsenal fans. The only gooners that are annoying me at the minute are not the ones that don't think you'll make it, and are not the ones that think you will make it. It's the ones that are bigging you up, but then going, oh, I don't know if we'll make top 4 though.
Exactly.
I don't understand how you can big up this Arsenal team and not predict them to do well.
Because they don't believe what they're saying, Terry. It's all for being welcomed into the Arsenal family. I'm in a group chat with a few lads, right? And we forward messages from other people that message us. Like I've got a friend of mine. He only messages me when Arsenal win. Disappears when we lose. Yeah. Like Chelsea text me. Yeah. Then the Sevilla game. I said, where was you for the Brentford one? Oh, that was the B team. I said, well, the B team are the backups, mate. We still need a striker that's going to be a Giroud-esque type player. Somebody that's a little bit different up front, because Jesus is not going to win many headers in the box. Eddie Nketiah is not going to win many headers in the box. If we're in a game, and we're 1-1 with 5 minutes to go, you could throw that striker on 6'3", 6'4", and start crossing into the box and win a knockdown, win a header, and all of a sudden you've won the game. We have not got that in our squad. We are going to play one way and one way only. We need a right back. We need another destroyer in midfield. We can't rely on Partey for a whole season. We need another attacking midfielder. Odegaard will not score many goals. He's proved that last season with 6 goals. People bang on about his creativity. Oh, he created the most chances. He created 6 big chances all season, Terry. Yeah, Che Adams created more. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, we need somebody that's going to go like a Maddison and bag 10, 15 goals from centre mid. Then you add in your Sakas, your Martinellis, your Jesus and Nketiahs. All of a sudden, you've gained another 10, 15, 20 goals. And now you are challenging for that 4th spot. Yeah, not that I'd give a toss about 4th. It's 3rd loser. The amount of money this manager's done, the amount of protection he's had from this fan base for nearly 4 years or 3 years, whatever it is. You know, I was told when he first came in, oh, it took Klopp 4 years. Well, it didn't, though, did it? It took him 3 years to win the Champions League. Yeah, he qualified for it and got straight to the final, then lost. Then the following season got straight to the final and won it.
But that's where I think, again, I think the Odegaard's, the crazy thing with Odegaard is he's still on his way to reaching his peak. But I think the Odegaards, the Smith Rowes, and Martinelli's, the Sakas will go to another level this year. I think you'll get even more out of them. I think they'll be more consistent. That's why I've got a lot of confidence.
But Smith Rowe needs to stay fit, Terry, and he's injured.
No, again, I get that.
We've got players that are very good players, and Tierney, Partey, and Smith Rowe that spend half a season out. Tomiyasu started less games last season than Tierney. But everyone's saying, oh, Tierney's injury prone. Well, what's Tomiyasu then? The geezer's been missing for 6 months with a calf injury. Yeah, we've signed a player that's injured in Fabio Vieira. Everyone's hyping him up. Nobody knows how good he is because nobody watches Portuguese football. Yeah, let's stop blagging it here. Yeah, but it sounds good. Oh, he's the next Bernardo. These people are going to be very, very disappointed at the end of the season, making excuse as to, again, why this manager has failed to get us in Champions League. Yeah, and I just look at it and I think, like, somebody put a comment in saying, well, who's the replacement for Kane? Richarlison. And I've seen a lot of people hyping up Jesus, saying, I'd rather have Jesus over Richarlison. Yeah, and whilst I agree with that, why are you comparing our main striker to their backup? Do you know what I'm saying? It's like we're comparing main players to backup players at other clubs that already finished above us, that are deemed not good enough to compete with us anyway. It's like, it makes no sense. This manager has had more protection than any other manager I've ever seen in my life watching football. He's had more protection, Terry. He's had more of what he wants at a football club. He's had every player he wants out of that football club gone, including Mesut Ozil. Unai Emery wanted Ozil out and was like deemed like, oh my God, he's a joke. Get rid of Emery. Ozil won that fight. Arteta does it. Oh, he's a genius. And it's like, he's going to get rid of Pepe. He's got rid. I think when Leno signs for Fulham, every single player, 8 players that were signed under Sven Mislintat, Diamond Eye. Yeah, Diamond Eye. What a genius. Yeah, every single one of them 8 is now gone. Yeah, more like Dusty Eye, because half of them weren't even good enough anyway. Right, so he's had all of them players out. He's going to get rid of some more before the end of this window. The Maitland-Niles, the Pepes, players like that are going to go by the end of this window. Right, maybe Bellerin is another one. But when you actually look at it, he signed Granit Xhaka up to a new deal, not good enough. Rob Holding to a new deal, not good enough. Yeah, then he signed a player that's injured in Vieira. Tomiyasu's injured more than Tierney, and that's proof last season he started less games than Tierney. And then we've got rid of Leno, who's a better goalkeeper than Matt Turner. I don't think that's even a debate. We've signed a good striker, a very good striker. But then when we strip that back, he signed Eddie Nketiah up to a new deal. Why? Because it worked out cheaper to sign Eddie and keep him on 100 grand a week than to go and actually buy another striker and pay him whatever it costs. And I feel like we need to keep all 11 of them players fit to even stand half a chance, Terry, of getting top 4. And that ain't going to happen. Europa League, FA Cup, League Cup and Premier League, Sunday, Thursday, Sunday, Thursday, Sunday, Thursday, ain't happening. When I look at Tottenham's front line, they were already better than us anyway. Kulusevski, Kane and Son, they've now added Richarlison to that. And although I don't think he's a superstar player, he turns up every now and again. And when he does, he causes us trouble every time we play him, by the way. Yeah, for Everton. But he'll score 8 to 10 goals for Richarlison this season. Then they've added in there Basuma. Well, their midfield, you could say it's 50-50 with Arsenal's before Basuma. You know, they've got Bentancur in there. He walks into our team. Yeah, I'd swap in for Xhaka all day long. Then you look at their defence, and people were ripping their defence apart all season. They conceded less than us. And they were getting pipes all around London at the first 3 months of the season. So it's like, and now they've got a world-class manager as well. Yes, they're in Champions League. But then you look at Man United. Man United have already got the core of a decent team, and now they've added a decent manager in. Have we really bridged that gap to the 4 teams that finished above us? I don't think we have. I don't think we have. And if we haven't, then it comes down to manager ability, and tactical nous, and managing big games. Well, not just big games, every game. Because you said earlier on in the show that Arsenal can beat anyone on their day. Well, how about going beat Southampton, Palace, and Brighton then?
Well, no, and I understand that, but I feel like this year, and I don't think a lot of what you said is wrong. I think it's a fair and logical opinion. I feel like that's where we'll see improvements this year. I think that when it comes to playing the Palace game is Friday. I know there's an element of, can you imagine if Arsenal don't win? I think Arsenal are going to win, and I think Arsenal are going to look good. I think Arsenal are going to start the season like a freight train this year. And one thing Arsenal haven't done in a long time is start a season well. You never really looked ready. Yes, you've won things in pre-season, but you haven't looked, for me, how you look right now. And I think there's a buzz. And if you win, if you manage to garnish 6, 7, 9 points.
I know what you're going to say. Didn't we do that last season, Terry, and finish 7th after an 11-game unbeaten run?
No, last year, obviously, you lost like your first 3 games, and you started off on a flat foot. So even when you went on,
my bad. That's when he did that unbelievable team talk that we've seen all over the internet. Yeah, where he was waffling about when he was born. Like, who cares?
But you won, though.
Mate, we scrambled 1-0 past Norwich. Right, we beat Burnley 1-0. Yeah, we managed to just about beat Leicester. Like, come on. And then after the end of that 11-game unbeaten run, we were sat 7th, Terry.
No, I understand that, but that's because of the bad.
It didn't work. It didn't work, though, did it?
Yeah, but that was the bad start, though. That's why. But that's why the start's so importantly, because if you start the season well and you've got that 3, 6, 9 points in your opening sort of 3 to 4
we should win the first 5 games. Let's have it right on paper.
Yeah, on paper you should. But yeah, again, so if we go to the first 5 games and you walk away with 12, 13 points. You've given yourself a base to start the season on. The problem you've had in the last few years, you've started so slowly that even when you've picked up steam and you've gone on a really good run, like Man United have gone through this, where we've gone on a really good run and we might win like 7 out of 10 games, draw the other 2, but everyone's like, well, how did that work out? You went from 6 to 6. But the reason we've gone from 6 to 6 is because we were 18 points behind 5th. It's like we've closed the gap. But you've given yourself such a big uphill task. It's going to be intriguing for me. We're going to go to some of these super chats.
Do you genuinely think we're going to finish? If you had £100 free bet right now, would you put that on Arsenal to finish in the top 4? Yeah, as it stands right now on the 2nd of August.
Yeah, right now. Listen, my opinion on everything could change by the end of the window. Like I've said, if Chelsea don't sign any of these players, and if Man United get nobody else come in, my mind will be like this. If for instance United, it's hard. There's pre-season predictions, and then there's end of the transfer window predictions. If let's just say United signs Shishko and De Jong comes in, there's opening 3 games of the season, they look sensational, we look great. I might get behind my team a little bit more. I think we might do something. But if we don't, then do you get where I'm coming from? So my mind could change. But as of right now, if I'm putting a bet, I'm 100% sure Arsenal at this moment in time are making the top 4. Let's go to some of these super chats. Smokey here said earlier, fan to fan, Lee, with Gerald and the same team that beat Sevilla, Spurs drew to. Tuchel has come out and said that he isn't going after a striker. So Arteta comes 3rd and wins 2 trophies. If he comes 3rd and wins 2 trophies, would you still be Arteta out? Is what the question here is, Lee.
It ain't happening, Terry. It's all if, buts, and maybes. And this is the thing with these. No, and this is the thing. I deal in absolutes, yeah? Big up James Redmond. I deal in absolutes. Absolutely, this manager has been woeful since he's been here. Absolutely, everyone says it was a process. It's a project. It took Klopp 4 years. Well, it took Arteta 6 months to win with Unai Emery's team. It's taken Arsenal 370 million quid under this manager, and now we're sitting, if he comes 3rd and if he wins 2, how about go and win them and then come back to me? In the first part of that, fan to fan, we beat the same Sevilla that Spurs drew to. Spurs beat Man City twice last season. We got beaten twice. What's your point? It's a pre-season. I've never seen so many fans get so giddy over a pre-season friendly. Yeah, I was happy. It was a great performance. What does it mean for the season? Absolutely nothing. Yeah, if we get Sevilla in the Europa League at some point this season and go and wallop them 6-0, then maybe I'll I'll get carpet burns from knee sliding around the gaff. It's a pre-season friendly. I was happy to watch a pre-season friendly where we actually played well. A game where Arsenal actually played well for 90 minutes. But to sit there and compare it to Tottenham drawing to them, mate, did you not think that through? Real talk. They beat City twice and finished above us off of the back of it. Yeah, we lost twice to City. Come on.
But listen, I think it's a fair question. I think Lee would be definitely Arteta in then, because otherwise he'll be out of business.
Terry, get us in a title challenge is all I've wanted since we smashed that stadium down. I want a title challenge, and not a title challenge till Christmas and top at Christmas. Get my club in a title challenge to the wire, like it was with Liverpool and City this season. That is all I have asked for. Yeah, how many times have Arsenal done that since we smashed that stadium down? Maybe twice or three times. 08, 09, Eduardo done his leg. 13, 14 maybe, and then Leicester season. 3 times in 15 years.
I know, mate.
Well, that's acceptable for a club of our size to spend that much money. Come on.
AJ here says Lee won't be Arteta in. He isn't a flip-flop. Lee has went in so hard on Arteta that I couldn't even imagine him backing him. The guy wanted us to lose.
The good and great. I actually, a very good friend of mine, just to say this, right? A very good friend of mine came out here last week. He's back in England now. But his dad was out here as well. And he's Arsenal. He's just turning 60. He said to me that when he went to see one of his mates before he came out and said, "Oh, you backing Arteta yet? You backing Arteta?" He said, "No, we lose every single game next season." This is a guy that's been going to Arsenal as a season ticket holder for 40 years. And he wants us to get walloped every year, every game. Is he toxic? Is he a Spurs fan? He's been supporting Arsenal and going week in, week out. But he wants Arsenal to lose because this manager ain't the manager. We just lost a manager, RIP to Terry Neal, who got us to 4 cup finals, Terry. He won one of them, yeah? Right? We still sacked him because back then our fans had a backbone and said that ain't acceptable. Yeah, now fast forward all these years later. Oh, well, it's an improvement going from 8th to 5th. And if he gets us 3rd, and if this, it's all ifs and ifs and ifs. How about just do it? Yeah, I see it all the time. People always sit there and say, "You're a Spurs fan." It's because you ain't got no argument to say against what I'm saying, because everything I say is right. Yeah, I've seen Arsenal be the best team in the country and smash a stadium down to continue being that, whilst we were that. So why can't I hold the club to that standard? Since when did it flip that it's negative to want to be the best team? Since when? Why is it so negative that I want Arsenal to win a title? Why? I don't get it, Terry. It makes no sense to me whatsoever that this 4th spot, 4 of our players, ironically, 4 of our players have come out, including our new captain, Odegaard, and said, our aim is to try and get top 4 and maybe the Europa League. What do you mean, maybe the Europa League and try and get top 4? You shouldn't be my captain, mate. Get out. Yeah, what do you mean the aim is top 4 and maybe the Europa League? Granit Xhaka said the same. Smith Rowe said the same. Aaron Ramsdale said the same. If that is the mentality running through that football club, yeah, we ain't going anywhere fast, mate. The aim is maybe the Europa League and maybe to aim for top 4. Maybe aim for the title, mate, and you might actually achieve it if you're good enough.
Cam here says 100% Lee, been like this since 2006. We're 12 years behind where we should be, and by Feb we will start dropping off again as per just another yearly thing.
We're just wasting time. That's all it is. Cam knows. We're just wasting time. If we had Antonio Conte as our manager in that 3 years that he's been here, where do you think we would have finished, Terry? Because we like dealing in if we win a league or if we get 3rd or if we win a trophy. If we had Antonio Conte as Arsenal manager in the time that Arteta's been here, what would Arsenal have achieved? Do you think we would have achieved more than Arteta would have achieved with Conte in charge? Because we like dealing in ifs. So if we had Antonio Conte for the last 2.5, 3 years, 3.5 or whatever it is, then would we have been in Champions League football? Would we have won another trophy on top of the one that Arteta's won? Would we have done that if we had a better manager? Give that manager 370 mil and watch what happens.
I hear you. I hear you on that. So a super chat here. The next one I'm going to says, we as fans can only predict what the team can do. The management see the team every day. So if we challenge and come 3rd and win 2 trophies, are you Arteta? Right. We kind of already had that comment there. It's already been responded to. AJ says, but we wanted to keep Leno. He didn't want to be.
I don't blame him. I don't blame him at all. Genuinely do not blame that guy at all. Yeah, if we wanted to keep him, we wouldn't have gone and bought a guy in from America who couldn't catch a cold. Because I'll tell you what, if Ramsdale's out, we've got a lot of ifs, yeah. And there's more chance of players being injured than Arteta winning a trophy this season. If Ramsdale twists his ankle or does a wrist injury, then we're going with Turner in goal. If Thomas Partey, and based on his recent and his previous, gets injured, which he will at some point this season, we're going with El Neni. If and when Tierney and Tomiyasu get injured again, which they will, we're going with backups that are probably not good enough. Maybe Zinchenko, you could say, is as good as Tierney. I don't know. If Jesus gets injured, we're going with Eddie Nketiah. The drop-off is epic. And people want to sit there and say we've got great squad depth. Listen, it's great that we've had a great pre-season. Fantastic. The lads look great. They have looked great. They're scoring goals. They're running around. They're pressing. They look fresh. They look sharp. It's pre-season, Terry. Yeah, come back to me at Christmas. Come back to me in March. Come back to me in May. Yeah, because I've seen it too many times. And all the people that want to cry in the comments, you're here every week, man. It's boring. Like, you come and cry every week. Like, if you don't like it, it's every Tuesday, man. Like, it's one show. I'm saying, if I can say, the funny thing is, it's almost like I go, oh, okay, I'll stop streaming. I'll stop coming on then. I'm here every week. If I was going to get bored of it, I would have stopped by now.
No, I hear you on that. Comment here says, Lee, one of your videos last season, you rated Tommy, and your latest video, you're saying that he's not good enough. I'm confused by that point.
Give me the exact quote that I said, because I know what I said. You come back to me with the exact quote that I said, because all season I've said he's an upgrade on what we had, but I'm an upgrade on Bellerin. He's better than Cedric, which he is, because he can actually defend. And I've also said all season, anyone in this chat that watches me every day, and there's a lot of them in here, would also say, Static's in here, he'll know, that I said he's the only right back in world football that doesn't overlap his winger. Yeah, he stops on the halfway line, which then means Saka gets isolated with 3 players around him and then has to do a madness. Yeah, well done. He looks great defensively. Well, I would if I didn't cross the halfway line. Come on. He's all right. I've seen people saying Tommy Cafu. Based on what? He's injured for 6 months off a calf injury. What are they made of? Cardboard? I don't know.
Could be. Could be. We are making top 3, hopefully a cup. Come on, you Spurs. What Davison, the defender, says.
See, look, that is the mentality of North London teams, fans, isn't it? Like, top 3. Let's make 3rd and hopefully a cup. It's the same as Arsenal. Come on, man. Raise the standards. Raise the standards. I know you. Well, then again, you probably haven't seen your team win anything, so my bad. But
Scrubs, it says Chilwell, Cucurella, Koulibaly, Silva, Reece, James. Very good, very strong, as you can see. Tony here says, just like 2015 preseason, 1-2 trophies and Community Shield, but finished 2nd and no trophies. In the end, Lee, the GOAT is going to be proven right once again, is what Tony's got to say. AJ says, I comment on Lee's vids as I 90% disagree with his opinions. Doesn't mean I don't respect it. It's your opinion. Doesn't mean you are wrong. Respect.
That's probably the most sensible comment we've seen today. Big up to you, mate.
It's a sensible comment. Got one here that says, Terry, why don't you have the same energy with your boy Mason? You don't know his side of the story, and you don't know the previous messages either. So, the difference is, the fundamental difference here is, I listened to that voice note, and it would take something colossal to change my mind. You know, I would have to, I'll be honest with you. I'll tell you what it would take for me to change my mind. I would have to hear 2 or 3 others like it, where at the end of it or before it, they're giggling and laughing because it was something they were into sexually. I would need something as extreme proof as that, because that video was it wasn't a 10-second soundbite. It was ridiculous. You could tell. I don't believe anybody, least of all a football player, even if it was is that good an actor for him to sound the way he did in those videos. You know, at the same time, the photo evidence, everything. Like, I feel it's a very different situation. But if it all turned out that Mason did nothing wrong and it was all fabricated against him, and I'm just putting this out there, the biggest if you've ever seen in your life. This thing is bigger than the Grand Canyon, right? This is a massive if. then people like me would come out and say, I'm really sorry for kind of getting it wrong. But this isn't like, it's very different, and it's very hard to get into. But for me, I don't think you're comparing two similar situations at all. Once a big thank you to David, another member on the show. Thank you very much indeed. We're also closing in on 1,000 likes, which is amazing. I want to say a big shout out today to our title sponsors. As you can see here, private internet access. You should not be using the internet without a VPN provider. Ridiculous if you are doing so. Protect your bank cards, your passwords, thumbprints, facial shots, everything to make sure that all your data is protected. It's available on all your devices. And the great thing is you get unlimited, zero restrictions on your content, meaning if you're on holiday and you want to watch the Sky Sports app, use a VPN provider and you can still get that done. All sorts of other features available to you. Plus, as you can see, instead of $8.99 a month, I can give it to you for £1.63. So get yourself signed up. Link in the description below or pinned into the live comment section. Get yourself signed up. Just over 520 people have signed up in the last month, which is out of this world. And the feedback from you all has been absolutely tremendous. The people that are using it and everything else. So thank you very, very much indeed. But there we go. Listen, I know there's examples of other things and people in the past where voice notes and other things have kind of come out and everything else. I'm just giving you my opinion. And that is where, if you want to believe certain people are innocent, then that's, by the way, is also your prerogative to be allowed to do that as an example. But that's just where I stand on it. And I'm not going to yield or change my mind or be bullied. I'm only pretending about the bullying thing. I want to ask another question away from Arsenal. It's a big question for the viewers here. I'm going to put a poll out for this one, actually. I'm going to put a poll out now. Okay? So you're going to have to wait for me to write this poll because I didn't prep it before because it says here, yes or no. Will Haaland flop this season? That's my question to you, Lee. Will Haaland flop this season?
Well, I hope not, because I'm on loan to City all season, so I might go and get a Norway shirt with Haaland on and wear it against City just to trigger everyone. They'll get so upset when I wear my Mahrez Algeria shirt. Do you know what I mean? Apart from the 5-0 when we got battered and nobody said nothing. It was just when we nearly got a draw. Like, I've seen a couple of his misses. I watched the Community Shield the other day. Mate, how did he miss? How did he miss? He must have wanted the whole world to just swallow him up. Like, that was shocking. I think it's not going to be as easy as I think a lot of people think it is for him. There's something not right with that guy. I don't know what it is. No, I don't mean, no, Terry, I mean footballing wise.
No.
The way I said that probably didn't come out like that.
You're so un-PC.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah,
it'd be trending later. Lee Gunner said that Erling Haaland should be on the undateables. You know what I mean? That's how it's going to come out.
Somebody edit that with my voice. That's what they'll do.
Have you seen? By the way, one thing I'd love to learn to do, the deep. Have you seen like the deep fake of Ronaldo's face put on the on Homelander from The Boys, and how good those deep fakes look? Some of them deep fakes are mad good. But yeah. But yeah, you think there's something not quite right with him? Something not quite right.
I don't know what it is. He looked clumsy the other day. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he's not fully up to it at the moment. Like when I look at Jesus, he's lively, he's buzzy, he's running around. Like he looks sharp. He looks like he's on it. But every time I've watched Haaland before he came to Man City, like I've always thought he looks clumsy on the ball. Maybe it's that I'm looking at. He just looks a little bit clumsy. Yeah, but he's running at full pelt with the ball. It's similar to Harry Kane, by the way. I think Harry Kane looks clumsy on the ball at times, like, especially when he's running forward like at full pace, which isn't as quick as Haaland. But I just feel like because they're so big physically, he just, with him especially, he just looks a little bit clumsy. Like some of his first touches in that game against Liverpool, it was Lukaku-esque. Yeah, but let's not get carried away here. He is a quality footballer. Yeah, and they're a quality football team, and they will win the league this season. Yeah, with or without him scoring any goals. They didn't even have a striker last season. They still won it. So I don't think he's going to go and bag 35 goals or anything ridiculous. But I do think he will score goals, 100%. It's just how many. And whether Man City have got to change their play now, because normally they play with a false nine, whether that be Mahrez, Foden, Grealish, whoever, Bernardo, De Bruyne. Now they've actually got that target man up front that can actually dribble past people, can score. And watching them the other day, they looked a little bit lost for ideas at times. Yeah, so I don't think it's going to go down to the wire again, the title, but I do think they will win it. I think they just got too much quality over Liverpool. But him, I don't know, man. I'm just going to sit back and see what happens. But from that game, it is only the only game I've seen Man City in pre-season. He looked a little bit off the boil, man.
I kind of look. I've gone in. I put a lot of stock in him. So I predicted that this season he breaks Mo Salah's goal scoring record.
Oh, you've had a shocker.
I really rate him. I really rate him.
That's new trick all the Liverpool fans.
No, it was. Like, I've always rated this guy. I think he's a sensation. It was funny though because like when he missed that opportunity and he hit like the one thing you can tell with him, he's got that. You know, like Messi and Ronaldo have got that thing where, yes, they want their team to win. They want to win the trophies. But there is also a personal desire to score every game. There is a personal want. Bruno Fernandes is a little bit like that as an example as well. Like he wants the team to win, but he wants to be the guy that gets the assist or he wants to be the guy that gets the goal. And my hope is that, again, for City, I hope it goes wrong because I don't want City to be successful. Equally, though, I don't want City. If City aren't successful, I just hope it ain't Liverpool that step in their place. So sometimes I want City to be successful. Until my team's ready to win a league title, I kind of want City to win it over Liverpool. But anyway, again, it's one game. It's an isolated game. And that chance that he missed, he probably buries other times. Prior to that, there was a shot he had that went in where I think a foul was given just before it. He hit that much better and he scored much harder shot through a crowd of people. I feel like with Haaland, if he doesn't start scoring in the first 2 or 3 games, I think the pressure could get him because he's so young. Like if he gets a goal opening weekend of the season, he scores in City's opening game, gets a goal, gets a brace. I think you're looking at records. I think if he goes 3 or 4 games and he hasn't scored, I think you might be considering the price, the agent fees, the salary. Like this guy has got to score 25 league goals minimum for it not to be a bad season. Like that's. Do you get where I'm coming? It isn't like
you've first game's West Ham away. That ain't an easy start.
Yeah, it's not a hard game. It's a hard one. I just get this little feeling, but look, I'm still got confidence in him. I've got confidence in him. I don't think
he's going to score goals. I don't think that's a debate. It's the same with Nunes. Like I've seen everyone slating Nunes there, and like I don't think he's that great. I genuinely don't. When we were linked to him in January, and all our fans were like getting giddy over it, I was like, 35 goals in the Portuguese league. No disrespect, but me and you could play in that league, Terry. It ain't great, is it? Yeah, but the system that Liverpool play, he'll score goals. The same kind of for Man City, although, like I said, they've now got the target guy rather than the false 9 that's normally a midfielder. So it's going to be interesting. And Pep's got his work cut out to win the title again this season because it's big money that they've spent on this guy, not just the fee, but like you said earlier, with all the other bits and bobs on top. And you know, Grealish, second season at the football club, they've let Sterling go, who would bag goals anyway. Yeah, now Grealish has got to step up. Haaland's definitely got to step up the money they've invested into him. Same with Grealish. They've done 100 million on him. Let's not forget that. So it's a big season for both of them two and for Pep as well, because like you said, if he goes 3, 4, 5 games at the start without scoring a goal, all of a sudden, everyone's going to be on his case. He'll start feeling the pressure. And then it's one way or the other, innit? Either flops all season like Lukaku did at Chelsea, or he rises above it and says, I'm going to shut everyone up. But I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting watching because Man City have got to change their playing style slightly. Mahrez a bag. Grealish will get a few goals. De Bruyne's always going to bag goals. Bernardo will get goals. Foden will get goals. But now they've got that focal point, whereas they've never had that focal point in the last few seasons.
Mate, I totally agree. I think that this could go either way. What will happen though to both Nunes and to Haaland, and this is happening more and more every year. This will happen with them two this year. If De Jong comes in, it's going to happen. Koulibaly's going to get this. Arsenal players such as Jesus will. Any mistake, any miss, any poor performance, there is going to be a compilation, clown music. Fans, it's coming thicker and faster every year. You know, Sancho had only played 3 games for us, and there were huge nationwide debates over here around, is he a flop? It's 3 games, and that's how these things go. So the pressure on Haaland, the pressure on Darwin Nunes is absolutely massive. But I don't think Haaland will flop. I'm still predicting it. Of course, this is where I'm predicting an injury pending. If he spends half the season out injured, he won't break the record. But if he has a relatively injury-free season, Haaland breaks Mo Salah's goal-scoring record. I think he's that good a player. I think he's that good a finisher. And you got to remember, they played Liverpool, and Liverpool one of the toughest teams to play. Most teams in England are not as good as Liverpool. In fact, no one's as good as Liverpool, barring Man City. And he still should have scored maybe twice in that game, right? So imagine how many chances he's going to get against everybody else.
You know what I was so surprised about?
You might find 20 of his goals, 21 of his goals, 22 of his goals come against the bottom 4 or 5. Like he might end up, they're the kind of teams where you could see him score 3 or 4 goals in games.
Stat padding like Ronaldo, you mean?
No, scoring lots of goals. Do you know what I mean? It's just like Thierry Henry. Do you know what I mean? He wouldn't have won the goal.
Like he never used to score against United all the time. Do you know what I mean?
But Ronaldo scored against everyone.
Or Spurs, yeah.
You're saying Ronaldo
when he sat Carragher on his backside. Yeah.
So Cristiano Ronaldo had never scored against the biggest and best teams in the world.
I didn't say never, did I? Look how triggered you got when I mentioned your boy.
Ronaldo scored more goals in hat tricks than Henry has in his entire career.
Oh, turn it in. Turn it in.
It must hurt to think that Man United's greatest player in the modern day era is like twice, 3, 4 times as good as your greatest ever player. It's mad, isn't it?
He's nowhere near Bergkamp's level, bro.
Don't say that. The last time you said that, Ladden Sports Bible clipped it up. Like
Bergkamp's Arsenal's best ever player. That ain't even a debate.
It is a debate.
Ain't a debate.
He's not even in your top 10.
To be fair, they're both brilliant.
Bergkamp isn't even in your top 10 because, in my opinion, Odegaard and Ozil in front of him, easy.
Hey, mate, it's a clear day today. I can see Odegaard chilling on top of the rock. Gibraltar guard. Can actually see him. He's sat there. He's waving a Norwegian flag at me with a captain's armband on.
I hear you. People, we are 20 likes away from me gifting out those memberships. So make sure you get that done right now so I can get that done for you to see who's going to be getting those memberships. And we are launching this week the brand new membership content. It's going to be starting from Thursday. So if you're not a member, get yourself signed up and ready. When we hit those 1,000 likes an hour hit, so I'm going to put those. I'm going to get the new memberships in now. We're going to say out loud who has got them, who has been gifted them as they come through right now. So some of you that were gifted last month have dropped off. You didn't renew, people. You got to renew those memberships. You want to keep getting that content that's launching very soon. So here they come, people. Here they come. So United till I die. Aaron has got one again. That's twice. The more you're on the terrace, the more likely you are to get it, by the way. Not just comment, but be here. Oliver Elvis, Paul, Cullen, Steve, the Chelsea fan. Who else has been given one here? Jigs Man has got one. And a few more people. I'm trying to keep up with the names. More are coming out here. Honestly, if people slating Bergkamp, yeah, I'm just digging it out. Bergkamp was top class. Those memberships have come out, people. So thank you very, very much for smashing those like. Ridgewan has been given one. Twisted's been given one. Calabro, K-Shaw, Mohammed Nazir, and many more have all been given out those memberships. So make sure like buttons are being smashed. Gifting out more over the course of this week. And get us the super chat. Remember, you can gift members out to your fellow audience as well. But a question I've got for you. We didn't actually finish this up in the Arsenal section. Where are you going to predict Arsenal finishing this year? Where do you think Arsenal will end up, bro?
5th or 6th.
Wow.
I think the top 4 is still going to be the top 4, if I'm honest. And then it's a flip of a coin between us and you.
Interesting.
I just think that the managers in the 4 above Arsenal from last season, they're all good managers, man. They're all very good managers. The top 2, they're just ridiculously good managers. Conte, I'd take him in a heartbeat. And then I think they've done good business as well, Tottenham. I do. I think Basuma and Richarlison, like I said, I don't particularly rate Richarlison that highly, but you've added that as a backup to one of the best strikers on the planet. So, and they've already got Son who will bag. They've got Kulusevski, who looked fantastic from February when he made his debut. Yeah, he's only going to get better, you think. Basuma was slotting. I think it's the top 4. It's the top 4 from last season, and it's a flip of a coin with us. So yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing my full
and
prediction.
I think, sorry to cut you off. I think one other thing I'll say as well: the fact that them 4 teams. Let's take the top 2 away for a second. Chelsea and Tottenham. Yeah, they're gonna play their games before us and United because they're playing Champions League football from September. So the pressure's then on us if they get their results. Yeah, that we're then constantly chasing if they keep picking up points. So it's going to be interesting, man. We've got this first month without any European football, and then from next month it's European football. The first month is going to be jockeying for positions before you go into that European competition, isn't it? Because if Tottenham and Chelsea play on the Tuesday or on the Wednesday, they're then playing on a Saturday. We're playing Thursday, Sunday. Yeah, the pressure is going to be on us the whole time we're in that Europa League, Terry, if they keep picking up points.
Yeah, I mean, and again, and that always depends on what happens in those games, because it can work in the opposite direction. It can work in the opposite direction in terms of if those teams drop points on the Saturday, you've then got that Sunday where, you know, it all depends on who wins them. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. The only prediction I've put out so far is where Arsenal are finishing. The rest of my predictions are going to be on Thursday night on the Top 6 show. But I am predicting Arsenal third in the Premier League this year. I want to say a big thank you to AJ for becoming an official member of the Football Terrace. That's 15 new members during this show, including the ones we've given.
Wow. League Gun attacks. League Gun attacks.
League Gun attacks. Always. No, excuse me. Official. Jota has signed a new long-term contract with Liverpool, as confirmed. I'm gonna text him now. I'm gonna text Jota now and say, well done. I'm gonna flex here and text my guy Jota.
Tell him to get Pedro Neto to Arsenal.
A little congratulations on your.
You actually know it, or you're just on a wind up.
Yeah, I know. Like I said to you, like I can like I show you, I can input it to the camera. Like, you can see it focusing. I can't click on it because you see the number. Like, Diogo Jota, I messaged him like after the game. If you actually read the message, it's like that one there is well done tonight. My viewers said they love you. Like legitimately, it's Diogo Jota. Like he's one of my clients.
Don't listen to him, people. He's got another phone. He's got one of his kids and he saved it as Diogo Jota.
Yeah, one of them ones. Do you know, I nearly did it once. I remember once I was on a stream, someone didn't believe, because Falcao used to be one of my clients. And I actually gave away on the terrace. Like, people want to where I got them. I had 2 pairs of signed Falcao boots that we gave away on the terrace years ago. Oh, where'd you get them from? I just asked him. I said, I've got a YouTube channel. Could I give away some of your boots that you signed? And he was like, yeah. No. He was a great guy, Falcao. Lovely bloke. Lovely bloke. Thank you very much to my man, Fraz Hamid, for becoming an official Academy member of the Football Terrace. Thank you, my guy. Means a great deal. Stop flexing, Terry. Can't help it, my bro. Stop. And by the way, speaking of flex, brings me on to KG the comedian. KG the comedian has challenged Mark Goldbridge to a debate. I've said that we would host it on the Football Terrace as a neutral ground. But of course, what you'll get from people is, oh, you're just trying to grow your channel. You just want the money from it. I said we'll dedicate all monies raised in the show to a charity of KG and Goldbridge's choice. So if you guys want to see KG versus Goldbridge, the Terrace is happy to host it as a neutral ground for both. That just reminded me because someone said the word flex. That reminds me of when I hear the word flex, I think of KG. When I think of KG, I thought of that conversation yesterday. So people were asking me about it, and I'm 110% willing to host that and get it done. Yes, unused boots. Like they're a pair of boots. Yeah, unused boots. There we go. Yeah, Terry's going to be... Yeah, I wrote natural instead of neutral because I'm dyslexic and stupid. But honestly, the day Twitter adds an edit button, it would be amazing. Do you know what I mean? And even limited editing. Someone said, someone said you shouldn't allow editing because people could edit like a really horrible message and make it look less horrible. I'm like, well, one, there's screenshots, but you could limit the editing to like clearly...
Well, to show what the original was.
Yeah. Or like, for instance, like when people edit things, it's normally because... like predictive text that said there in like the wrong type of there, or like me being dyslexic, I wrote natural when I meant neutral, but they're fairly similar words. Like you're changing it. If someone's like trying to restructure a whole sentence and you don't let them, they must be able to do it. But there we go. Listen, I nearly called you Goldbridge. Sorry, Lee is your name. I appreciate you. Thanks for coming on, mate, and having your say. Viewers, before you leave, smash like buttons, subscribe to the Footy Terrace. Back later today with more content for you. More updates on the transfer market as we build up to the start of the brilliant, the beautiful Premier League season. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless.